their deception by touching your vulnerable spots. Their deception by touching your vulnerable spots. God bless you, Rob. I'm reading here. You said your oldest daughters will be here Thursday. Amen. Praise God. All right. Many of us, I'm going to talk to the women primarily, but there are some men here. And we men have been tricked. We've been deceived. We were made vulnerable from women as well. So you can flip it. Okay, so anything I teach tonight, even if I'm speaking primarily to the women, we men, I acknowledge that we men have been tricked up by women as well. Tonight, many of us have been deceived. If you can look back on some past relationships where you realize that this person could not have cared about you because the way they ended up treating you after they got what they want. Many people bring us on and connect with us for many different reasons. They have ulterior motives. And in the beginning, we may not pick them up. A lot of times we don't understand what people's interior motives are until it's too late, until it's after the fact, until after we've been hurt, after we've been deceived, after we've been manipulated, after we've been just sort of thrown around. I often think about, you remember the Raggedy Ann doll? I have a picture of a Raggedy Ann doll that's sort of thrown in a corner. It's out in the street. It's dirty. And this Raggedy Ann doll has been thrown around. It's been misused. It's been abused. And then the name Raggedy Ann doesn't help as well. Many of us have been treated in that capacity. So when I say their deception, it is their deception from the beginning. You got to understand that when people first meet us, they often size us up, just like we look at people and we make some kind of decision about them. There are some people who, from the jump, don't mean us any good. They don't see anything in you that's worth anything other than one or two specific things that they want from you. And it's up to you to figure out what it is that they want from you. You've got to realize that if somebody is rushing something, if they're rushing a transaction, if they're trying to rush something, then you've got to understand that this person possibly does, and most likely does not care about me. They don't want to get to know me to care about me. You got to understand that somebody was arguing, or not arguing with me, but they kind of didn't agree with one of my posts where I said it takes time to learn to love. And somebody said, well, whatever, but I believe in love at first sight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you from my experience. Can I speak out for myself? And from my perception, it takes time to love. God bless you, Elton Kirkwood. Glad you're in the house tonight. It takes time. You've got to learn to love. You've got to learn to love. Elton Kirkwood said, be friends first. I need to see how you flow. And people, when you have a friend, think about a friend that you have. When you have a friend, it's for the most part, when you have a good friend, it's genuine. It took time to grow that friendship. As Travis McPherson just says, love has to be able to stand the test of time. You just don't start out caring for somebody. I'm serious. I don't know about the love at first sight. I've never experienced it before. I've had infatuation at first sight. I've daydreamed and played a different movie in my head at first sight, because we often look at certain people from how they appear to be on the exterior, how they come off according to their job, how much money they make, how many degrees they have, where they went to school, how they carry themselves, how people look at them, how people have a lot of respect for them, what kind of car they drive, what kind of house they live in. We get caught up in all of those things, And we want it to work because of what we see on the exterior, even though we haven't taken time to go in to fully expect the inside. How many people, when you looked at a used car, because when you're dealing with all of us now, all of us are used cars. Oh, y'all ain't, okay. All right. All of us, one more time, are used cars, meaning that somebody else has driven us before. Oh, okay. All right. Somebody else, we've been owned in a certain way by somebody else before. We were in a relationship with somebody else. So all of us are used cars. Many times when people are trying to sell a used car, they make sure that exterior is on point. Because if the exterior is on point, many people, they're sold with that. Because they know that when they drive down the street, people don't know how many miles are on the car. Oh, y'all ain't with me. I feel it happening already. Mimi Taylor's with me tonight. Yeah, Elton Kirkwood, Fantasy Factory. When a car is going down the street and it's shining and it looks good on the outside, many people don't know how many miles it is. I'm just saying, the car just passes by and you see me in it. You don't know how many miles is on the car. You don't know if there's major problems, especially if the car doesn't appear to make noise. Do you know that car dealers can temporarily fix certain things just to get you to buy it and get it off the lot? Oh, yeah. There are certain people who know that they are jacked up, but they pretend and they can keep quiet. Their actual noise hasn't started yet. That rumbling doesn't start until you get it on the freeway and you take it above 65 miles per hour. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to test drive a used car in town. Because you driving 25, 35 miles an hour, you stopping and going. Yeah, Deborah Gonzalez, that you say your son-in-law has a buy here, pay here car. You can't test drive a car accurately in town. Watch this. I mean, there's so many ways I can go with this and unpack this. When you're in town and you're trying to test drive a car, most young people, watch this. When I was a child, I spake as a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things. When I first used to test out cars in the beginning, when I was like 18, 19, 20, I'd get in the car and I would turn on the radio because I wanted to see how the radio would bump. I wanted to check out the speakers and make sure that the radio was on point. How many of us done that? You made sure that radio, but the problem was with that, while you were having the radio bumping, you weren't in tune to see if there were any noises going on the exterior of the car. Oh, y'all, you missed it. Many times we meet people, God bless you, Jana, we meet people, but we have a radio on. So we can't hear the external noises. Y'all not with me. You're not hearing you're caught up in the lyrics of a song that's played. You're caught up in your favorite jam. But you got to realize the beginning, you're testing out a car to see if it is sound before you sign on the dotted line and have a relationship with the car. When you're in town, if you don't have the radio on, you can be caught up because when you're in town, there are a lot of noises around you. There are other cars around you. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Construction, all of these things take away your ability to listen when you're test driving a car. You try to test drive a car in Manhattan. You try to test drive a car in the busiest areas of California. You try to test drive a car in the areas of Chicago and these places where there's a lot of noise and a lot of street noise going on. And again, you can't hear for the sounds. Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Have you ever been around a lot of people? You brought somebody new around you, around a lot of people. You really, and that's your experience, but you realize once you got along with this person, you found out some things about them that you didn't realize when you had them around a crowd of people. When you had this person with you at church or around your family, it was, you really couldn't focus in to see if there was any noise because of all the other things that were going on around you. But when you got a chance to spend time with them alone, you started hearing noises. Oh, yeah. See, and that's one of the things. If I'm going to test drive a car, I'm taking it out of the city limits. I'm getting it on the freeway. I don't have the radio on. The radio creates a fantasy. The radio, again, is another thing that distracts you from being able to focus in on what you actually have. There's some noises that you are missing from your relationship because the radio is on. Okay. When I go to test drive a car, radio is not on. The other thing, watch this. You ever get in a car with a salesperson and while you're trying to listen, they're talking you to death about stuff that really doesn't pertain to this test drive? And sometimes you just gotta, I don't know if y'all saw that movie, what was that movie? I can't think of the movie right now. I can't think of the title of it. But anyway, this guy was looking at a car. And I'm trying to think, what was the movie? It might have been Minister Society. That's it. Minister Society. Remember when he was looking at that Ford Mustang and he went to this car shop. It was like like underhanded where they scrape off the serial numbers. And remember that guy was looking at that Mustang, that green Mustang, and the guy started talking to him and he said, "Shut up." He said, "Shut up." Because there was something he didn't want to be distracted in his assessment of the car. Y'all remember that scene from the movie, Minister Society? Sometimes you'll get in the car. That's it, Sharon Morgan. It was a chop shop. Exactly. It was a chop shop. The movie was Minister Society. And the guy started talking. He said, "Shut up." Because he wanted to be his mind clear as he looked over this car to see if he wanted. Kane, that's it. Thank you, Natasha. Kane did that. Kane from Minister Society went into a chop shop looking at this green Mustang that he was looking at buying. Sometimes folk are talking around you so much that that's a black market that it distracts you, and they want to purposely distract you in order to get you caught up in whatever dream or whatever you got playing in your head. When you meet somebody, it's all right to be impressed by the exterior. It's all right to be impressed by whatever it is that impresses you about them. But you're going to have to keep, as Deborah Gonzalez just said, the distractions. You got to clear yourself of the distractions so you can see what actually it is that you're attempting to bring home. The deception. The title tonight is Their Deception by Touching Your Vulnerable Spots. A car salesman, they're not just somebody that goes without training. Somebody's just looking at numbers and just whatever. These people are taught to look at you and study you and see if there's anything that they can use to kind of make a sale. While you are looking at somebody to bring somebody into a relationship with you, they're looking at you too. And if they don't want a relationship, say they just want something that you have. Say if it's your body. Say if it's your money. Say it's whatever it is. It could be so many different things. But their intention is not love, and their intention is not wanting to be married. not wanting a relationship, not wanting to be in anything. They just want to use you because you have a nice house, because, whatever. They could be using you for different reasons. Their deception is going to be, as soon as possible, to touch you in your vulnerable spots. Now, I know when you first saw the title, we thought about sex. Yes, that, and we'll get to that. But also, whatever the vulnerable spots are in your life, we all have vulnerable spots. Mostly every used car, I told you we're used cars. Mostly every used car has something wrong with it. It could be very minute, or it could be a major thing. But every used car, for the most part, because things fall apart after a while, has some vulnerabilities to it. And a lot of times you won't know until you've already committed to the car that you find out that here are some things that are wrong. How many of you have purchased a used car before and you found out something was wrong with it? It could be something minor. Maybe the windshield wiper didn't work, or something else wasn't working, or that the window in the back it didn't roll all the way down, or something else happened. This light was out, or that didn't do this, or the car makes a lot of noise when you take it up to a certain speed. There was something. But you got to realize these people, just because somebody shows an interest, don't take that as a final deal. Just because a car looks good on the outside, don't commit to it just for what you see on the outside. Take time to look at thoroughly, get to know this person, because this person is, again, if they're looking to deceive you, they're going to do the best they can to touch your vulnerable spots. What are your vulnerable spots? Let's start with the sex there. If you have needs sexually, if you have weaknesses where you know that if you get into the atmosphere and the radio is on and they provide the right atmosphere and you're interested in this person, what are your vulnerabilities there? Men and women. Because like I said, women trap men too, because they know there's certain things that you may want, and they'll give of themselves or attempt to give you certain things to get your attention. Men, sometimes there are women out there. Can I talk to the men for a minute? Men, there are some women who are jealous of the life that you currently have. You're not with me. They're jealous. They're watching you with your woman, or they're watching you with your wife, and they're saying, you know what, I can mess this brother up. I can get with him and tear his whole family, his whole situation up. There are, thank you, Stephanie, entrapment. Men, there are women that are out there just looking to get you into a compromising situation. And watch this. Once you've done it, and a lot of men are weak. A lot of us are weak. Once they get you in a compromising situation, then they go and tell on, or they threaten to tell on you. Y'all not with me. They threaten to go to your pastor. They threaten to go to your wife. They threaten to go to your girlfriend. They threaten to tell somebody on you. And that's the way of manipulating and to try to get you to do what they want you to do. Ladies, how many times in sexual sense have you given yourself too soon? You didn't plan on doing that so soon. But they were pushing for stuff. When you are looking at this thing from a sound mind, thank you, Mikkel. If you're looking at this thing from a sound mind, again, take my test driving analogy. Going in with a clear mind, going in looking and checking out everything, getting rid of any distractions, any movies that you have playing in your head, that happily ever after, that Coming to America at the end where the lady was riding in that with Eddie Murphy at the end and all of that kind of stuff, Meghan Markle kind of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot go into a relationship with that fantasy. You've got to go in being realistic, and being careful, giving everybody the skunk eye. Everybody gets the skunk eye in the beginning. You're checking them out because when somebody's being deceptive, you can pick it up. I like what Evangelist Cannon said. Hollywood is a deception. God bless you, Garrett Stiegel. Hollywood is a deception. And let me talk about that for a minute. Many of us want our lives to be what we see in the movies. Many of us do. We get caught up in a good movie and we want our lives to be that way. But you got to remember, in every movie, some of the meat has been taken out of the movie and was actually taken out on the cutting room floor. That's what they call it, the cutting room floor, where there's certain scenes and stuff that give you more background, help you to know about certain things. They're taken out of the movie because it makes the movie too long. That's every movie. There's some scene and if you go back through the DVD, you'll find the extras where they took all these deleted scenes out because they needed to cut the movie down. Many people in life that we deal with now come with deleted scenes. You're not with me. They've been through some stuff that would help you to understand them a little bit better, or would help you not to pick them or to be sold by the overall theme that they're presenting. If you were able to see some of these deleted scenes that have been taken out on the cutting room floor, it would tell you a little bit more about the whole scope of the movie. But many of us see what the movie, the theatrical view of it. And again, it's what the person wants us to see. All of us come with deleted scenes. You're not with it. I got some stuff that's some deleted scenes that I never want anybody to know about. You're not with me. And some of the deleted scenes can be a deal breaker. I've come with a lot of deleted scenes. You come with a lot of deleted scenes. A deceptor comes with many deleted scenes. Only the person that you fall in love with, that you will want to be honest by actually saying, you know what, here's a DVD. Go ahead, here you can check out the deleted scenes of my life. Yeah, I made some mistakes. Here's some things that are not in the theatrical release of my life. But because I love you and because I can trust you, I'm getting ready to go somewhere. I can show you the deleted scenes on the DVD of my life. Some of us, because we're so vulnerable, so lonely, so willing to just hook up with somebody and to be in a relationship so bad, we show them everything on the first couple of dates. We tell them everything about us. We show them deleted scenes. We show them everything. And the only thing it does is give somebody who doesn't care about us ammunition to shoot us with. Oh, I'm going to say that again. We often show people our deleted scenes too soon when we're trying to get to know somebody. And the only thing they do, these people who are out to deceive us, is take that information to hold over our heads and also to destroy us. A brand new relationship. When you're getting ready to know somebody, don't tell them everything about you. Don't share all your personal business. Don't tell them everybody that you slept with. There are people out there who are deceiving, and they don't care about you. They're just they're getting to know you. And some of the people are deceptors. They are deceiving people. Tonight, we're talking about their deception in touching your vulnerable spots. Their deception in touching your vulnerable spots. Vulnerable spots want to be touched. Vulnerable spots want to be covered. Vulnerable spots want satisfaction. And it's those spots that make a person, once they're touched, it makes a person weak. It makes a person give in. It makes a person vulnerable to whatever the deception is. Adam and Eve in the beginning didn't know that they had vulnerable spots until they sinned in the garden. You're not with me. And once they sinned and they found out that they were naked, they went and grabbed, it was only the two of them. They were husband and wife. And it was just two of them. What's wrong with just you and your wife? What's wrong with y'all walking around naked if it's just the two of you? But and they were married. There was nobody else around but the animals. But it was that they realized once they ate of the fruit that their sin nature showed them that they had vulnerable spots, and they took fig leaves and they covered their private parts. And God came down and said, what are y'all doing? Well, God, can you come back later? Because we're not decent right now. We're naked. Can you come back later? And he saw the fig leaves and he said, well, who told y'all? Who told y'all had vulnerable spots? Who told y'all? Who was messing with your vulnerable spots that you felt you needed to cover them? Satan was watching this whole thing go down. But watch this. After Satan exposed them and showed them that they had vulnerable spots and accessed them, he took off. All right. You remember, I mean, he was nowhere. He left them, left them hanging. How many people that we exposed our vulnerable spots to took advantage of us, and just like Satan in the Garden of Eden, once he got us to sin, he took off. And we were left trying to find some fig leaves to cover our private parts. Oh, y'all not with me. The deception in relationships when it comes or getting to know somebody is when the enemy is trying to get the sex to jump off as soon as possible. Because if they can uncover your private parts, y'all not with me, if they can get you to uncover your private parts and access your body, now your soul and your heart are compromised. There's a connection. And once that connection is formed the first time, it's easier for it to happen the second time. When we men were out there, we would try our best to get the sex to happen as soon as possible. Because if we can get it to happen on the first time, as soon as possible, after that, we're in. It can happen whenever we want, however we want, how much we want. Once we've accessed that person, their vulnerabilities for the first time, from that point on, we have full run of the house. You're not with me. There was a show where Dr. Oz had, where he had the show audience. It was all women in the audience, all women, and they all had bathing suits on. It was something about dealing with your body and being comfortable, being vulnerable because you're in a bathing suit, and being comfortable with that vulnerability. I'm gonna say it one more time because I want you to catch where I'm going. Dr. Oz had a show where he wanted to talk about women in their vulnerability in their swimsuits. Different shapes, different sizes, big, tall, short, skinny, full size, full figure women. I watched, it was a picture on the internet, and I got to see if I can find it. There were probably like 100 or so women out of the audience. Every one of those women, as he was talking in the audience, had their hands over their private parts. You're not with me. Covering. I mean, it was every woman. I looked at the picture, and they didn't even realize it. They were talking. I don't have the whole. You don't see my whole body in screenshots, so I have to just. But the main area of their private, they had their hands covered. Every woman in the audience. Now, I don't know if the director told them to do this or if this was just a natural reaction because they were vulnerable, because they were on camera in their bathing suits. But there was not one woman in the audience that did not have their private area covered. That lets you know that's your vulnerable spot. You give somebody access to your area of vulnerability, the game begins. I'm going to say it one more time. You give somebody access to your area of vulnerability. If they are not in this for love, if they have the wrong motive, if they have the wrong intention, the game begins. And sometimes that game, that connection that is made, that game can last for years and years and years. Some of you can end up, and some of you have ended up, being in a rotation. In somebody's rotation, they got 3-4 women or more going on. They got 3-4 men. They got 3-4 men that they playing. And they just using you for money. You just take them out. They call you when it's time, where they want you to pay a bill or they want you to take them out to dinner. They just use you. We've all been used. Their deception in touching, God bless you, Regina, your vulnerable spots. So we've heard the deception. You've heard some of the things that we need to do to make sure that we protect ourselves from our vulnerabilities. Spiritually, let's talk spiritual for a moment. It's time to really get a closer relationship with the Lord. How many times do you need to be burnt before you realize that you need a closer relationship with the Lord? Just like we prayed at the beginning of the segment and God was able to impart through us wisdom to give to you, He'll do the same for you. He'll do the same for you in the garden of your life. So wisdom, let's go back to my car analogy. When you want to buy a used car, all of us are used cars, go in doing your homework. Try to take this time to find out as much as you can about this person. Be observant. Be prayerful. Don't commit to someone you don't know. Let me say that again, but I've got to try to help you one more time, because as much as I said what I just said, and like you're listening to me, some of you will still, from this point on, will get tricked up again right in the beginning. Somebody going to jack you up right in the beginning. But I'm trying to help you here. If you really listen to what I'm saying and take it in, when somebody is interested in you, I don't care who they are, how much they have it going on, what they seem to have. You got to figure out what their motives are. Is this person really trying to get to know me for me? Or are they trying to access me in order to take advantage? Many car dealers now, they won't even let you test drive more expensive cars if your credit, they check your credit first. They don't even let you drive the expensive cars because people, they've gotten burnt. Many folk on the test drive have taken off. Yeah. And there are people that want to come into our lives who are looking to test drive us and take us. If they're in a hurry, that is often a good sign that this person is not really wanting to get to know me for me. Love, like the song, there was a Billy Ocean, love takes time. Deceptions are pulled up in the front. When somebody doesn't care about you, it's easy for them to deceive you. You've got to get to the point where you are strong enough and you've dealt with all of your insecurities, which is a vulnerability, and your vulnerabilities. You've got to try to deal with whatever those things are. Put yourself, if you know you're weak, you need to deal with that. I told y'all my last segment, I have a friend that, she just met somebody, and within 4 months, she slept with the guy. And now the guy's playing all kinds of games. He's living with his girlfriend. She found out he claimed he lost his job. He's living with his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. Oh, I'm not touching her. I just need a place to stay. Yeah, right, Doc. He didn't tell her this in the beginning. This is all lies and deception. But there was some things in her, some things that she still needs to deal with in terms of her giving herself to somebody with under a 4-month period. People change once they get what they want from you. And there's some people who are nothing but, and I'm not calling you garbage, but I'm saying garbage collectors. Not saying what you have is garbage, but they don't care enough about you and they don't see any value to them. They don't see any value. They don't care about you. And to them, you're something that could be discarded. That's junk. So they're going around like Sanford and Son and they're collecting junk. Never go to a man's house in the beginning. Because the Sanford and Son thing is true. Lamont went out and there was junk already in the house. You're not with me. I'm going to help you. There was junk already in the house. And it was Lamont's job to go out and to look for more junk and bring more junk into the house. So all around you was nothing but a junkyard. It was junky on the outside and it was junky on the inside. And Lamont, because that's all they had, he brought all of his dates to the junkyard. And some of the women, depending on their needs, saw it right, or depending on the needs, some of them were caught up in who Lamont was, so they didn't really seem to care that they were in a junkyard, that their dating surroundings was a junkyard. But there were some women that Lamont brought to the house that immediately you could see it on their face. They're like, this is junk. Let me give you the spiritual element. You go to a single man's house, and if he does not have a relationship with the Lord, if he's not delivered, if he's not walking in the Spirit, working on buffeting this flesh, he's got a bunch of spiritual junk all in his house. So when you come through that threshold of his doors, you are nothing but an added piece to the collection of junk that's already in his house. Y'all not with me? The previous women that he slept with, those spirits are in the house, that you're become a part of that junkyard. Y'all not with me? And then you wonder, after the Lamonts have taken from you and you leave that house after you've given your body, that you felt low of yourself and you felt like a piece of junk. Ladies, can you be honest tonight? How many of you have went over a man's house? You didn't plan on sleeping with him. He slept with you. And when you left, you felt like junk. How many of you, can I get a witness? Another notch, Stephanie said. How many of you have gone over to a man's house, slept with him before you planned on it, and when you left, Deborah said me, somebody being honest tonight, and when you left, you felt like you were junk? That's because the atmosphere that man has put and brought into his house, into his domain. That man could have porno in the house somewhere. That man could be watching all kind of movies. He's been bringing women there, sleeping with them. He's been bringing all kind of women. He got this bachelor pad. It's just junk all around. You don't see it because he's hiding it with Febreze. Y'all not with me tonight. He's hiding it with the incense. He's hiding it with the music. He's hiding it with the dim lights. He's hiding it by cooking for you, cooking some meals for you. He's hiding it, but it's nothing but a junkyard of spirits. And when you come there, the spirit, I'm going to sign up, but I just got to say this. The spirit is a real thing. The spiritual world is a real world. You can't see it, but it is real. And just like Kim Marie Miller, atmosphere. The enemy is a master of atmosphere. One more time. The enemy is a master of atmosphere. Many of us, if you could see the spiritual junkyard, when you walk into this man's house, you wouldn't even sit down because the spiritual stench. This is why the Bible says you got to walk in the spirit so you won't be subject to the deeds of the flesh. Y'all not with me? You're not with me. If you walk by the spirit, soon as you cross the threshold of a junkyard, no matter how much is covered by that spiritual Febreze, you'll know immediately, this ain't right in here. This is entrapment. This is set up for me to become part of their junk. Ladies, how many men have slept with you and they changed immediately afterward? They won't respond to your texts. They won't respond to your calls. You can't get them on the phone. But watch this. But when they're ready again, but it's just for sleeping, they're going to reach out to you again to come back over to the junkyard because you are now, they consider you a part of the junk. Their deception by touching your vulnerable spots. So what do? Find out what your vulnerable spots are. You gotta find out. I've got a friend, and he's gay, but I don't judge him. He's a friend, he's a friend. So we were a few of us were together. We were on a trip, and we went to the mall, and these Chinese guys were, those booths out there in the middle of the mall where they actually massage you and all of that. And there were these guys, they put you in a chair. The chair has an empty spot for your face, and you put your head down, and they massage your back and all of that. I couldn't do it because there was two men working there. There were no ladies, and I just can't have no man touching my back. That's out. No vulnerability. I ain't got no vulnerable spots. I just don't want no man touching my back. That's just me. I'm not saying anything against anybody. But my friend said, I'm going to go ahead on and, get this massage. Now, he wasn't interested in this Chinese man at all. There was nothing about this Chinese man that he was interested in. But the man part of the massage was started playing with his ears. And he was like, oh, and when after he got the massage, we were walking away, and he said, man, he started touching me in my ears, and I hollered, I'm like, don't touch me there. Don't bother me right there. And we laughed. He said that's my spot. That's my weak spot there. So I'm kind of throwing it out there, but you got to know where your vulnerability is, whatever it is. Now let me help you here. If you are having financial problems, if you're having trouble paying your car note or your rent or your electric bill or your cell phone bill, or if your kids are in need of something, when you are in need, that often makes you vulnerable for the money man. All right. I'm trying to help you. Y'all remember and Set It Off? You remember what what's Will Smith's wife? What was it? What's Will Smith's wife? Something I go blank here. You remember what she went through? She had to sleep with my man. Yeah, Emma Guire, I'm gonna have to do that. Part 2 on this. You remember what she had to do? Stoney, thank y'all. I love y'all. Y'all be up on these movies. Also, somebody let me know what time it is. I don't have a clock I'm at another location. I don't have a clock in here. Let me know what time it is now, so I'll know where I'm at here. Stoney it was Jada Pinkett. That's it. Stoney had to sleep with. Y'all remember that guy's name? Was it what was that guy's name? Was it Rollo? No, what was that guy's name? Man, I can't think of that guy's name. But she needed money. Wasn't it to put her brother through school? She wanted to get her brother. He needed tuition or whatever it was. 9:53. Okay, thank you, Deborah. 9:54. Thank you, Naquia. What was that guy's name? I can't think. The guy that had the cleaning business. But she knew that he had money. Didn't it start with a C? Was it Cleotis or Cleophas? I can't think of this. Yeah, but Stoney slept with that man for money to help to get her brother to college. And I can't think of that guy's name, but y'all know, we all saw the movie. But Stoney was vulnerable, and he knew that she was vulnerable. And Luther, that's it. Oh, Yolanda, talk to me tonight. That's it, Luther. That was that guy's name. Stoney slept with Luther because he knew that she was vulnerable. She didn't want to sleep with him. She wasn't interested, but she was vulnerable. And when many of us are vulnerable, the deceptor just sits back and waits. They keep in contact with us because they know that sooner or later, our brother needs the money for college. He knows, the Luthers know that your light billers do. You ain't really feeling them, but the Luthers know that your real rent, you're 2 months behind on your rent or your car note. Yeah, Luther had that cleaning business. Wasn't Luther the one that had the cleaning business that she ended up sleeping with? Y'all let me know. But the deceptor is waiting for your needs. When you got a vulnerability, it's best not to let folk know about those vulnerabilities. It's best to keep yourself protected. It's best to stay away. Your vulnerabilities, don't let them know what they are. Don't let them know what they are. Whatever's going on inside of you. And again, tonight, we're going to have to do a part 2. But as we got a few minutes here, but tonight, in your assessment, as you go forward within your life, if you never watch another video of mine again, take some time. His name was Nate. Oh, it was Nate. It wasn't Luther. That's right. Y'all are right. You're right. Luther was the one that had to clean, but she didn't sleep with Luther. Luther was sleep with the white women. Remember that? Luther was with the white women. It was Nate. Yeah, that guy, that real dark-skinned guy, and I think his skin was bad. Yeah, it was Nate. That's it. Yeah. Luther was doing the white women. You know, he was, he had that money and all that. He found their money and all of that kind of stuff. But if you never watch another video of mine again, take some time to look at some of your past mistakes. I got better in buying used cars. I'm talking about that in the natural. I ain't talking about just decepting people. But seriously, I mean, you save a lot of money in buying used cars. I've learned now about buying used cars. I try not to appear vulnerable. I try not to, because if you appear vulnerable to a salesperson, they're going to take advantage of you. If they know you need a car so bad, they're going to take advantage of you. God bless you, Deborah. God bless you. God bless you, Bernetta. They're going to know what those vulnerabilities are. So now I know. When I go shopping for a car, I don't have the radio up because I'm listening for noises. I've got the windows down because I'm listening for noises. I tell the salesperson, shut up. Like my man on Minister Society, Kane, when he went to that chop shop and he was looking at that Mustang. Shut up. I'll talk. When we finish with the test drive and we go to the office, you can tell me all that stuff once we get in there. But I'm listening. I'm listening for the noises. Lord have mercy. I might have to preach that sermon. I ain't gonna preach it. We talk about what I talked about tonight with Nate and Luther and all that. But listening for the noises. I might have to preach that. But I have a biblical principle on that. I'm listening for the noises. The other thing is, when I pull up to go to buy a used car, I'm going to pull up in something happening so you don't see me walking up on the lot or see something that Evangelist Cannon, that'll preach. Let me know when you preach that too, and I'll let you know when I preach it too. When I come to the car dealer, I'm going to be right. I'm going to show you, and I will walk away. Give me your best deal. We're going to go back and forth. Ladies, when a man goes to touch you immediately, I don't care how much you want it. No, absolutely not. Men, I don't care how soon somebody wants to sleep with you. You tell that, say, no. Thank you, Regina. I think my wife's still watching. Tell that person no. Tell that woman no. Not right now. No, you ain't gonna get me caught up in nothing. No, not right now. I'm trying to get, I'm listening for the noises. Lord have mercy. Woo. I'm listening. And you give me your best pitch. I'm listening. I'm evaluating. I took the car out for a test drive. That doesn't mean sleeping with the person. And I'm willing to walk away from the deal. Give me your best deal. I'm going to walk away and think about it. Because you're not going to catch me in my vulnerability of wanting a car so bad that I say yes to junk. You're not with me. So tonight, I pray that you all got something from this. Let's hit a part 2 on this next week. And I promise you, it'll be even more in depth. And we'll give you some more scenarios. But ladies, like Radina says, share this video on your pages if you can. I've seen so many people in inbox, they send some video and they say, make this go viral. You can't make something, you've got to push something to go viral. I don't really feel that. Let it go viral naturally. Let something go viral naturally. But just share this video. I'm not looking for anything to go viral. But there are some people who can learn from this tonight. And if you share this with them, you might be able to help somebody. Their deception in touching your vulnerable spots. I love you all. Good night.